My fiancé declared, "If you truly cared for me, you'd clear my parents' home loan." I gave a slight nod. Then I called off the engagement. 3 days later, her whole family stormed into my workplace. I, Daniel, 34, male, am a construction supervisor. My world revolves around timelines, risk evaluations, and long-term strategies. I believed my bond with Emily, 27, was my greatest achievement. We were 3 months from tying the knot. Now I see I misjudged the risks entirely. The groundwork was flawed from the beginning. I overlooked the subtle oversteps. Her parents, Thomas and Margaret, always teasing about the lavish trips I'd fund for them. Emily's push to upgrade the engagement ring I'd carefully budgeted for to match her friends' standards. I paid for it, viewing it as a deposit on our mutual joy. A minor line item in the grand budget of a lifetime. The final outrageous demand came last Monday over dinner. She mentioned her parents' money troubles. Their house was at risk, she said, her tone a calculated mix of worry and vulnerability. She touched my arm, saying, "You're so good with finances. If you really loved me, you'd settle their mortgage. Consider it an early wedding gift to me." It wasn't a request. It was a bill. The entire venture I'd planned with her, our partnership, our future family, was exposed as a corporate raid. I wasn't a teammate. I was the bankroll. I didn't lash out. My brain doesn't operate that way. When a project is failing, you don't yell at the plans. You stage a precise dismantling. I met her gaze, slid my hand back, and gave a slow, intentional nod. "I understand," I said. Her face lit up with relief. She thought she'd locked in the funds. "Thank you, darling," she smiled. The ride home was quiet. The initial shock faded, replaced by a sharp, silent fury. At my apartment, the teardown began. I opened my laptop. Venue, florist, DJ canceled. One by one, I phoned and scrapped every arrangement. I swallowed thousands in lost deposits. With each cancellation email, the weight in my chest lifted. By 2 a.m., our wedding was reduced to a series of charges on my bank statement. I sent Emily a brief text. "Emily, the engagement is over. I won't cover your parents' mortgage. This isn't the partnership I signed up for. I'll arrange to retrieve the ring. I wish you well." I blocked her parents, her brother. Then I created a new spreadsheet. Project Emily. Final ledger. I began listing every expense. I knew the backlash would be fierce. I didn't expect it to hit my workplace so soon. The office showdown was as chaotic as I'd predicted. Security, led by Tom, called to say a family group was making a scene in the lobby. I told him to keep them out and messaged my supervisor, Karen. "Personal matter in the lobby. Sorry for the disturbance. Handling it." Downstairs, it was a spectacle. Emily played the role of a devastated victim. Margaret was wiping non-existent tears. Thomas was flushed, ready to erupt. "Daniel!" he roared. "You don't end a commitment with a text. You'll make this right." "This is my workplace, Thomas," I said calmly. "This discussion isn't happening here." "You've shamed my daughter," Margaret's voice climbed. "You crush her heart because you're too stingy to support her family?" It was a public takedown attempt. They expected me to cave. "My decision is final," I told Emily directly. "We're done." Just then, Karen appeared. She's small, but commands respect. "Is there an issue?" she asked icily. Thomas tried to posture. "This is private." "It became my concern when you started shouting in my lobby," Karen shot back. "Leave now, or I'll have you escorted out for trespassing." They left, grumbling, temporarily defeated. But I knew this was just the opening act. The online smear campaign began within days, spearheaded by her brother, Mark. Vague posts about a cruel ex who financially and emotionally tormented his sister. I decided to set the record straight. My spreadsheet was now detailed. I turned it into a PDF, a clear breakdown of over $42,000 in non-shared expenses, loans, and gifts I'd covered over 3 years. I emailed it to them with a short note. For transparency, here's the context for my choice. This isn't an invoice, it's a record. I consider this closed. Then I consulted a lawyer. The news was mixed. The ring, legally a conditional gift. I could sue for its return in small claims court. That was promising. The car. Bad news. I'd co-signed for Emily's vehicle 2 years ago. I asked about removing my name. My lawyer shook his head. "You're liable, Daniel. The contract is with the lender, not Emily. They don't care about your trust in her." A surge of bitter self-anger hit me. I, the strategist, had made a rookie error. I'd tied my name to someone else's debt. I was trapped. The sense of being cornered stung worse than the lost deposits. My lawyer said, if she misses payments, you'll have to cover them to protect your credit, then sue her for recovery. It's a long, ugly path. No neat escape. No quick retaliation. This was a battle of endurance. I told my lawyer to file the small claims suit for the ring. At least that fight was winnable. The past few months have been a grueling slog. My calm, systematic response had cornered them into desperate, sloppy tactics. The petty attacks began. Food deliveries sent to my home. I was subscribed to countless spam lists. Then a call to my office from someone posing as a debt collector, claiming I was under investigation. Karen had the number blocked, but the intent was clear. They were targeting my professional standing. I didn't need evidence to know who was behind it. That was the push I needed to see this through to the end. The ring. They ignored the initial court summons, assuming I'd back off. A hearing was scheduled. Their lawyer claimed emotional distress, arguing the ring was an outright gift. The legal tug-of-war was tedious and maddening. The online war. Mark's campaign persisted. He and Emily posted tearful, curated photos, spinning tales of surviving manipulative abuse and recovering from betrayal. They painted themselves as resilient survivors. Some shared acquaintances believed them. Most stayed neutral, watching the drama unfold. The car. The harsh reality. I was stuck. Every month, I checked my accounts, dreading the moment I'd have to pay for her sedan. It felt like a noose. This wasn't a tidy revenge story. It was the bitter consequence of my own misstep. My lawyer's words haunted me. A long, messy road. They were feeling the strain, too. Thomas called once, his voice a tense murmur. "Drop the ring lawsuit, Daniel. Please. People are talking. You're destroying us over a trinket." "You should have thought of that when you asked me to pay your mortgage," I replied and hung up. He sounded desperate. I wasn't going to rescue him. The ring hearing is set for next month. The financial toll is growing. This isn't a swift win. It's a prolonged siege, and I'm ready to outlast them. It took nearly a year of legal costs, petty harassment, and constant irritation. But it's done. The courtroom. The small claims hearing was as pitiful as I'd expected. Their lawyer leaned heavily on my alleged heartlessness. My attorney, Richard, was razor-sharp. When he presented the Emily expense ledger, their lawyer objected. "Your Honor, this is a biased document created with spite." The judge agreed. Objection sustained as to monetary claims. This isn't a suit for those amounts. Then he turned to Richard. "Counsel, what's your point?" "Motive, Your Honor," Richard said calmly. "This record shows a consistent pattern of financial demands, ending in a request for a six-figure home loan payoff. That demand directly caused the engagement's end, making the ring's return a legal requirement. He didn't need the ledger to be a bill, just a credible narrative. It was. The judge ruled in my favor. Emily and her parents were ordered to pay the ring's appraised value, $19,000. The fallout, that ruling was the first major blow. They didn't have $19,000. They ignored the order for months. So Richard started the process for a lien on Thomas and Margaret's home. Combined with their shaky finances, it was a breaking point. The lien alarmed their lender. Suddenly, they were under scrutiny. Then Emily missed a car payment. The first default notice hit my inbox as the cosigner. My credit took a hit. I cursed my own naivety. Per Richard's strategy, I paid to limit the damage, then sued Emily for the amount. I sent her the filing with a note. "This will happen every time. Every late payment, I'll cover it and sue you, plus legal fees. We'll be in court for years." It was a promise of relentless pressure. She defaulted again the next month. The car was repossessed. The final blow was their house. With the lien, a repossessed car, and no bailout, they were finished. The for sale sign went up 2 months ago. They sold at a loss to escape the debt and lien. I took a solo trip to Europe last month. It wasn't victorious. It was just calm. I reflected on the year, the legal fees, the credit damage, the exhausting ugliness. It wasn't a clean triumph. It was a costly escape from a life that would have ruined me. A friend mentioned Mark moved their parents to a modest apartment nearby. Emily, unemployed, lives with them. I don't feel joy. I feel unburdened, lighter. The sorrow for the woman I thought I loved lingers. A faint mark. but it's drowned out by the immense relief of freedom. I didn't ruin them. I simply stopped being their support, and they crumbled, like a house without a base. My next 5-year plan is straightforward and entirely mine.